Confederate general.
Frederick Kunkel there, who is a reporter with The Washington Post. Now, President Trump has insisted that a trade deal with the United States signed with China in January remains intact. In a tweet, Mr. Trump expressed the hope that Beijing would continue to live up to the terms of the agreement. The president's comments came after his trade advisor, Peter Navarro, told a US television network that the deal was over. Well, Shaun Rein is founder of the China Market Research Group, one of the world's leading market research companies, also author of War for China's Wallet. Thanks for being on the programme. What do you make of these mixed messages coming from the White House about the trade deal between China and the US?
Well, it's great to see you again, Sally. I think there's two problems. The first is that President Trump hasn't really controlled his lieutenants. So each of the lieutenants are saying very mixed messages. 5 days ago, you have Robert Lighthizer, the head of the U.S. Trade Department, has said that China's being honorable. They've increased the amount of purchases of American cotton by $1 billion in the last month, and he fully expects that China will live up to its agreements to increase spending by $200 billion over the next 2 years. But then you have Navarro, who is criticizing China and saying the deal is off. At the end of the day, the problem is that Trump is not controlling his lieutenants and sending very mixed messages. This problem, it means that there's a credibility for the United States. So how can China, how can the UK, how can any country try to forge a deal with the United States because there's too much chaos in the White House? America is losing its credibility, which is a problem for the world because we need a strong America to help get the global economy back on track when COVID crisis ends.
But isn't the focus in the White House right now on winning an election in November as opposed to sorting and nailing down phase 2 of a trade deal with China, and the audience, the voters in the US, are more important right now?
I think that's a great point. And the big issue is people like Navarro, people like Trump want to blame China for everything. They want to distract attention away from Trump's failings at containing COVID. Right now, 2.3 million Americans have COVID, 120,000 people have died, and 45 million people have lost their jobs. So what does Navarro want to do? They want to show that Trump is strong against China. Blame China for everything is what their strategy is in the run-up to the November presidential elections. It's going to be continuing over the next 3 months. It's going to be continuing over the next several years. China is a very easy scapegoat right now.
But if we forget all the rhetoric coming from the White House and elsewhere, what's really going on behind the scenes when it comes to phase 2 negotiations?
Well, I think behind the scenes, the Chinese have actually been very responsible. You know, don't get me wrong. I think a lot of the Trump critiques of China about protectionism and IP infringement were correct. But China has slowly, over the last several years, been trying to improve. I work with a lot of American businesses, and IP protection is not their biggest problem right now. They're actually telling us that they've seen improvement. So the issue is China is living up to the agreement, but will Trump? That's the question that everybody around the world has to ask right now, Sally.
And we will keep asking it for the foreseeable future. Shaun, thanks for your time. Shaun Rein there from the China Market Research Group.